We're learning of more deaths from the deadliest wildfire in California's history. Search crews found 6 more bodies yesterday, bringing the total number of deaths to 48 from the Camp Fire and 2 from the Woolsey Fire. And now we're learning of a new lawsuit that blames the deadly Camp Fire on utility company Pacific Gas and Electric for not inspecting or maintaining power lines.
PG&E responded in a statement that said that safety is the highest priority, and the company says that it's focusing on helping first responders. Maria Villarreal spoke to a nurse who barely escaped the flames and then learned that her father is missing.
Was his garden?
Yeah.
Chardonnay Telly and her husband Ernesto say they felt compelled to search through the rubble of what was her father's home, hoping to find any sign of life in the burned-out woods nearby.
Dad! He's been through war and so many things, and there's a possibility he could have made it through this.
This is the escape route Telly went through as she fled the hospital where she worked, transporting a critical care patient in one ambulance as she followed another.
We made it, I don't know, maybe a half a mile before the ambulance in front of us caught fire, and everything around us was on fire. And we pulled the patients out of the ambulance that was on fire and put them in a garage, and everything burnt around us.
You called your husband. What'd you say to him on the phone?
I said, we're not gonna make it out of this, and I feel like my patient's gonna die. And there's things blowing up everywhere. And to tell the kids that I love them and to check on my dad.
In the moment that you thought you weren't gonna make it, you were thinking of your dad.
Yes.
What does he mean to you?
More than anything in the world.
CBS News correspondent Mireya Villarreal is with us now from Paradise, California. Mireya, we now know about this electric company, but no update on the father. Has he been found yet?
You know, as of right now, he has not been found yet. He lives up in a secluded part of this county. It's called Concow. And so as search crews start to move their way through Paradise, they'll probably go up to Magalia, another small town, and then into Concow. So it could be a while before you actually see real substantial search crews that have like that experience and what they're looking for to go into his particular area. But, you know, she searched for several hours yesterday and didn't find anything.
Maria, where are you standing? Because it looks like some of the, it looks like you're on not in a residential area. It looks like you're on sort of like on a main thoroughfare there, because I see a sidewalk and a street. Where is that?
So we are actually probably on the main thoroughfare of Paradise. This kind of leads in and out of the city. I mean, you could take a quick look down. Everything is gone here. I mean, and that haziness that you see is the smoke that continues to kind of come from the fire, even though the fire is way up into the canyon area. It's really interesting because almost every business is like this, and then every once in a while you'll see one that just was completely skipped. And just to kind of show you a little bit, you know, we've kind of started to interpret what the guys say. You have ribbons like this. The other day, I think I showed you maybe an X marks the spot on the ground. This little ribbon right here, this is an indicator that that the CAL FIRE's come through here. They've checked out this building, and clearly there is damage, but it's also to show, like, we've been through here, we're moving on, we've got to go to the next. And so, yeah, it's surreal out here, guys.
So does that ribbon mean we've been through here, we haven't found any remains, and so we're moving on? Because I know there's 200 people or so still missing.
So this particular ribbon doesn't necessarily mean that. That is more of the X on the floor. So different teams. There are tons of different teams that are out here. This one is by CAL FIRE. They are very specifically looking at damage only, structural damage. And it's also to kind of indicate you cannot come back in here. It is too dangerous, so do not even attempt to come here. That's kind of what their job, their role is. But the ones that you're talking about, the search crews that come in and actually look to see if any remains are found, anybody is still missing inside, that's more of the X on the floor. Those are the spray paints that we saw over the last few days.
I'm sort of struck by the contrast in sort of how bright that ribbon is. Yeah. You know, it's this bright pink polka dot, which you kind of associate with, I don't know, I think of sort of happy color, and then this washed out, hazy background. Yeah. It really sort of stands out. I don't know.
No, and Maria, one of the things that I mentioned at the very top of my question to you was about this electric company. I mean, we still don't really know exactly how the fire started, but there is this lawsuit now against Pacific Gas and Electric for failing to inspect and properly maintain power lines. What can you tell us about this?
You know, over the last decade, we have seen several lawsuits similar to this one filed against PG&E, the electric company. In fact, you know, just last week, just last year, that is, we had an extremely dangerous and deadly fire that went through the Santa Rosa area, Coffey Park. I was there for that one as well. That one, it came back later on through the investigation that PG&E lines and their mismanagement of maintaining those lines was part of the reason why the fire started. And so right now, a lot of this is speculation. You have a lot of people that are saying, listen, there were sparks that had been flying at this woman's property. Could that have been a part of it? Look, investigators do believe that the fire was ignited in a small little community called Pulga. But there is no guarantee that it was because of a transformer that went out or faulty equipment. That's going to take a while to investigate. But listen, they are definitely a part of the mix. They have committed, though, as you saw in that statement, to working with investigators to try and figure out exactly what happened.
So we've got the Camp Fire, which is just massive, record-breaking. It's only 35% contained. What's the future hold? What's the prognosis? I mean, is there any relief in sight for California?
I mean, look, that's a really difficult question because, you know, if it was a neighborhood or if it was, you know, one small part of the community, that's one thing. But you're talking about like infrastructure here. You're talking about electrical wiring, utilities, water. On top of that, you know, somebody mentioned to me the other day, look at all of this property here. I mean, as far as the eye can see, everything was torn apart, right? So then what does that do to property value? And if you don't have property value, then how do you have taxes? Who's going to pay the taxes? If you don't have taxes, then how do you pay city workers? So there's this kind of domino effect that makes you start to think that if they don't repopulate here, will this city be able to survive? I think that those are kind of those bigger questions that you won't really see or hear answered for the next few weeks, next few months even. I think people are going to genuinely try and come back here, but trying to come back versus the reality of actually coming back and rebuilding are two very different things.
Those are such really good points. You know, we heard that there was, I think, a city meeting for the people of Paradise with the mayor, and I thought to myself, the mayor of what?
Yeah.
Like, what is left, and what will this place become? Maria Villarreal, thank you so much.
Thank you.